You have a good idea that could actually work. Then you realize someone else already did something similar. Suddenly your idea feels worthless. That feeling just killed something that might have been great. Everyone experiences this, but nobody admits it out loud. You get excited about a concept, you start planning it. Then you find out it exists in some form somewhere. Your brain instantly devalues everything you were building. Not because the idea is bad, not because your version wouldn't be better or different, but because it's not completely original. So you abandon it. You move on. You tell yourself you'll wait for the truly unique idea. Meanwhile, people who don't have this hang-up are executing variations of existing ideas and succeeding. You're stuck chasing perfect originality while they're building real things. This isn't about standards. This is about a bias that's making you think execution only matters if nobody has ever thought of it before. This is called the preference for originality bias. Research and creativity studies shows that people consistently overvalue novelty and undervalued improvement when evaluating ideas. Your brain is wired to worship the new. When something feels original, your brain lights up with possibility. When something feels derivative, your brain dismisses it as unworthy. This comes from how we're taught to think about creativity. Schools reward original thinking. Society celebrates firsts. We're told that real innovation means doing something nobody's done before. So your brain learned that value equals novelty. The problem is almost nothing is truly original anymore. Every idea builds on what came before. Your brain is measuring your work against an impossible standard. It thinks it's protecting you from wasting time on copies. It's actually preventing you from executing ideas that could succeed because they're not perfectly unique. Look at what happens when you're working on a project. You're writing something, building something, creating something. Then you see someone else's work that touches the same space. Your stomach drops. Your first thought is not how is mine different. It's this has been done. The project loses its shine instantly. You were excited 5 minutes ago. Now it feels pointless. Or you're planning to start a business. You research the market. You find 3 companies doing something adjacent. Your brain says the space is crowded. You convince yourself there's no room. You don't ask if your approach is better or if you'd serve a different audience. You just see existing players and assume that means you're too late. The idea dies before you've written a single business plan. And here's what nobody tells you about this. The ideas you abandon aren't bad. They're just not novel enough for your brain's impossible standards. Someone else will take that same idea. They won't care that it's been done before. They'll execute it with their twist. It'll work. You'll see it succeed and think you should have done it. But you didn't, because you were waiting for the completely original version. The version that probably doesn't exist. You're not protecting yourself from failure. You're guaranteeing it by refusing to start anything that isn't perfectly unique. You chase originality and abandon good execution. This makes you start dozens of projects and finish none. Which means you never build the skills that come from completing things. Which makes you worse at execution. Which makes you lean even harder into the fantasy that the next idea will be the truly original one that changes everything. You're not just dealing with one rejected idea. You're stuck in a cycle where the hunt for novelty prevents you from ever getting good at making things real. The bias doesn't just kill one project. It kills your development as a creator. This isn't your imagination. The research backs this up. Most people think originality is the difference between success and failure, so they wait for lightning to strike. They sit on good ideas hoping for great ones. But that's like refusing to cook dinner until you invent a new type of food. The real issue isn't that your ideas aren't original enough. It's that you've convinced yourself execution without perfect novelty is settling. That improvement isn't valuable. That your version of an existing idea couldn't be better. None of that is true. This bias survives because society reinforces it constantly. We celebrate the inventor and ignore the hundreds of people who improved the invention. We talk about the first person to do something and not the person who did it better. Plus, admitting you're building on existing ideas feels like admitting you're not creative enough. That threatens your identity as someone with unique vision. And if you stopped requiring perfect originality, you'd have to actually execute. You'd have to put imperfect work into the world. Your brain would rather chase the original idea that never comes than risk putting out something derivative that people might judge. But here's where it gets interesting. People who create successful things don't have more original ideas. They have lower originality thresholds. You see an idea that's been done and stop. They see an idea that's been done and ask, how can I do this better? You need your concept to be completely new. They need it to be good and executable. The difference isn't creativity. It's permission to build on what exists. They've realized that most successful ideas are improvements on existing concepts, better execution, different angle, specific audience. You're rejecting ideas because they're not revolutionary. They're building things because they're solid and doable. Originality isn't what makes ideas work. Execution is, and you can't execute if you never start, because nothing feels original enough. So the next time you have an idea and discover someone else did something similar, you'll know what's really happening. Your brain is using lack of perfect novelty as an excuse to avoid the risk of execution. It's telling you the idea isn't worth doing because it's been done. But done before doesn't mean done well. It doesn't mean done your way. It doesn't mean done for your audience. The idea isn't dead. Your standard for originality is just impossibly high. Now, you can catch it. You can feel the urge to abandon and ask, what makes my version different, instead of assuming different means brand new. You're not settling for derivative work. You're accepting that all good work builds on what came before. You started this video thinking original ideas were the only ones worth pursuing. Now you know originality is overrated and execution is everything. That's not a small shift. That's the difference between waiting forever and actually building something. Click the video on screen to discover why smart people make the dumbest mistakes.